Hello and welcome to I Digress, a Silver Crow Media podcast about anything and everything. I'm your host Benjamin Mock, and with me today is the lovely Alex, who is a regular contributor to Silver Crow Media Ventures. Hello, Alex.
Hello.
And in honour of the Marvel Cinematic Universe turning 10, we're going to discuss why it has lasted 10 years, our favourite films within the cinematic universe, and what it does need to do to continue for, another 10 years. Now, I understand that you are quite the Marvel fan.
I am indeed Marvel trash, yes.
Very much Marvel trash. The Marvelist of trash.
The most Marvel trash.
And so, shall we just dive right in with why it's been around for 10 years?
Let's do it.
So, I'm going to ask the question again. It's just, why do you think the Marvel Cinematic Universe has successfully lasted 10 years?
I think because they found a structure of a movie that worked and they've stuck with it.
Do you want to elaborate a little bit?
Yeah, sure. So the movie structure of Marvel films you can see are very much you have a hero, you have a villain, and then you have characters that surround both sides. So you have the funny sidekick, you have the tech guy, you have the big boss in charge. Maybe you have some conflict between the two, between the big boss in charge and the protagonist, but generally, it's kind of set out in that structure character-wise. And then the film, you can kind of track, you can see, well, the character's going to start off at one point and then they're going to end up at the end. So you have the character, the protagonist will find out about the villain, attempt to fight the villain, it'll go badly. The protagonist will get all downtrodden and sad and crack a few jokes maybe about the world ending, stuff like that, especially in Tony Stark's case. And then the protagonist will kind of like wake back up and go fight the villain and win. So
it's kind of a satisfying. It's a satisfying follow of the classic hero's journey storytelling model.
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
And I think that it's a model because it is how we tell our stories, and I think there is probably a way that we just kind of find that sort of method of storytelling satisfying.
Yeah, it's compelling as well.
Yeah. And so, why else do you think the Marvel Universe... Because 10 years is a long time for a single interconnected franchise to last.
Definitely. And,
we'll get into it a little bit more when we talk about the film specifically. But you'd think in a 10-year, nearly 20-film franchise, there would be... maybe at least a quarter of them would be clunkers. But, just kind of off the top of my head, I'd say maybe only 3 or 4 of them are clunkers. So I know that's still kind of like a fifth of them, but
you would expect
expect more to be bad.
I think Marvel not only found this formula, but it also found the people who would translate this formula the best. So it found great directors and great actors, So we started off with Iron Man in 2008 with RDJ. Can't remember who directed it, actually.
Jon Favreau, I think.
Yeah. RDJ, Jon Favreau, Gwyneth Paltrow, all of those kind of really charismatic people. And I feel like they interwove it and interconnected it so well that people just keep coming back for more. And I think that is why it's lasted so long, because it's all been building up. If you look at the web, it's all been building up right up until Infinity War. So people have been coming back, film after film, saying, oh, well, I want to watch Infinity War, so I can't miss this film. And I think that's part of the reason. But going back to the actor-director chemistry, I think they found hugely charismatic people. So you've got RDJ, you've got Chris Evans, you've got Chris Hemsworth, so all the Chris's, just all the Chris's. And you've got directors like Jon Favreau, the Russo brothers, etc., etc. And I think they work so well together, the actors and directors. Yeah. And it looks like so much fun filming.
Yeah.
That I think that translates amazingly well into the films.
Yeah. And, we do have to bring up, he has fallen from grace pretty hard, but Joss Whedon was the MCU showrunner until he bailed out after Ultron. And I know that he has come out and, it has come out that he is just an awful, horrible human being.
Yeah.
But it is also the fact that he did make Avengers, which is a fantastic film,
Oh yeah.
and he did showrun the MCU pretty damn well. And so, do you think it helped that they quite clearly went into Iron Man with the plans for an interconnected franchise?
Definitely, because when you look back at Iron Man, you meet Coulson for the first time, and then you think, ooh, there's something deeper. There's something deeper going on here. And I went into Iron Man in '08 at 11 years old, not knowing anything about the comics.
Mm.
But even then, I could tell that there was something a little more to just what I was seeing in that film. And that's why I got so excited when, like, Iron Man 2 came out, and then I found out that they were going to make more with different characters, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And yeah, I totally think that the way they wove it together.
No, yeah, and it kind of looks stark contrast to how I feel that there was a plan for a DC extended universe, which is because they call it the DCEU instead of the cinematic universe. But it felt like it almost felt like they were waiting for Marvel to slip up.
Yeah.
And it is very different. It is stylistically different because it is kind of the Zack Snyder. It's the Zack Snyder versus Joss Whedon.
Yeah.
Show running styles.
Yeah.
And ironically, both have bowed out.
Yes.
But for very different reasons. And, even at this time, we still have to extend our sympathies to Zack Snyder's family. For the reasons that he bowed out.
Yeah.
But Man of Steel was their first one, which felt forced. It didn't feel very good.
Yeah, exactly.
And then they jump into Batman versus Superman as the follow-up.
I felt like they were almost trying to emulate Marvel, but with their own style put on it.
Yeah, they wanted more conflict than Marvel.
And I feel like I just don't think it worked.
No, and I think that's a problem. I think it showed because there was no consistent director, and it's not a consistent director in the MCU.
But you can tell
they all appear to be on the same page.
They are definitely very much on the same page.
Zack Snyder did Man of Steel and he did Batman vs Superman, and they were both very Zack Snyder-y films. It was essentially a superhero version of 300, and it was a superhero version of, I can't really say a superhero version of Watchmen, which is a film about superheroes, but that Watchmen style, that 300 style, it's a rotten, stinking world. And these people are the damn stupid saviors who who rise above the crime and the filth. And then there was Wonder Woman, and Wonder Woman was absolutely fantastic.
Wonder Woman is a great film.
I think its biggest flaw is it highlights how disjointed the DC vision is, because Patty Jenkins clearly made a film that she had no intention tying to the DCEU.
I mean, there were aspects of it that are.
But that's almost like in her contract. She has to tie it to the EU.
And it felt very much an afterthought at the end, like, oh yeah, they have to stick this scene in when she gets the picture from Bruce.
Yeah.
Like.
That's how it kicks off the film. It's her going to her office and looking at the picture.
Yeah. And I felt like that was very much a stuck in at the end.
Yeah, but it was also it's clearly that contract writer of you have to have something that reminds people that to go watch Justice League later on in the year.
And I felt kind of let down by Justice League.
I honestly haven't seen Justice League.
I felt kind of let down by it because Wonder Woman was great, and I thought, oh yeah, DC is turning a new leaf. It's it's got this fantastic director in Patty Jenkins. I thought she did a wonderful, wonderful job.
Who ended up directing Justice League?
I'm actually not sure.
Because I know it was Zack Snyder, but then he bowed out in the editing process. But I think he might still be credited as the director.
He is still credited as the director of Justice
But
League.
it's like, I think it was his last film. And I think the other problem is, I think, there aren't franchises within franchises in Marvel. It is one big franchise, but there are
Yeah.
franchises within franchises. So, like, you know how Ben Affleck wants to do this standalone Batman movie?
Yes.
Well, that's a problem, because if you're making a DC extended universe,
You shouldn't
you
have
can't
a standalone movie.
you can't start having standalone films.
Exactly, and I think that's what works so
And
well
I mean,
with Marvel.
I'm really excited for the standalone Batman film
Sure.
because it's Matt, someone I can't remember, but he's done some really good stuff in the past, and it's going to be the Batman noir stuff. It's going to be
Okay.
it's going to be like a proper investigative murder mystery Batman film. Problem is that isn't
That's not.
that's
the
happening
brand.
alongside. I think there is going to be a DC Batman movie as well as this standalone Batman movie.
Yeah.
And then also, would you say that we met the principal Avengers? We met all of the principal Avengers before Avengers.
Yes, we did.
But we only met Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman before Justice League. With Flash, Cyborg, Aquaman,
Yeah.
all getting films post Justice League.
I mean, for me, I don't really count that Hulk movie.
I mean, it is still but we still met Hulk.
Yeah, we still
Hulk.
knew he was a thing. Yeah, I think, and we didn't have a Widow Hawkeye film either.
Yeah, but
They're not principal.
then and it doesn't look like we're getting those anytime soon.
Which is
anyway,
so sad.
But does it help? Did it help to meet the characters of the Avengers before we met the Avengers?
Because you got excited about the fact that, oh look, Steve is here. He's in the 21st century. And you have that dynamic with Steve knowing Howard Stark, Tony's dad.
Yeah.
And you know that that's gone on behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And you know that they all have this history and backstory which is complicated.
Yeah.
And they've given them fully fledged films worth of characterization.
Yeah.
Even before they put them together as a group. And I think that built up the tension within the fans, and I think that built up how they reacted when they got into the Avengers situation. And I think that was the best thing that Marvel did with the Avengers, was let us meet them, fall in love with them, and then put them all together and see how they got along.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and so have you got any more comments about how and why the MCU has lasted?
I think the MCU as an entity has lasted because it appeals to all sorts of ages as well.
Yeah, it's a feel good family.
It's a feel good family.
You can take your kids without worrying that they'll be too traumatized. Like there is some
100%.
stuff that there is some stuff that will, but that's just because it might frighten small children, because small children are
wouldn't take my kids
frightened.
to Deadpool.
Well,
but Deadpool's different.
But that's very different, and that was purposely different.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about the films themselves, and we'll kind of have a discussion about our favourites.
Mm-hmm.
So I want to say 18 so far, so I'm just going to run through them. So, and you know how Marvel split them into phases and stuff, which didn't really mean anything in the end. They were like, they kind of bigged up. That was one thing that I don't like about the MCU, is they bigged up these phases, except the phases didn't really mean anything. It was just a way for them to separate the films.
Yeah.
So the Marvel films to date, which are Marvel films, not, Marvel properties owned by Fox. So the MCU films are Iron Man in 2008, The Incredible Hulk in 2008, Iron Man 2 in 2010, 4 in 2011, Captain America in 2011, and Marvel's The Avengers in 2012. So that's first lot of them. So that's first 6, culminating in The Avengers.
Excellent film.
They followed up with Iron Man 3, For the Dark World, Captain America the Winter Soldier, Guardians of the Galaxy, Avengers 2, Age of Ultron, and then Ant-Man, Captain America Civil War, Doctor Strange, Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Spider-Man Homecoming, Thor Ragnarok, and Black Panther. So, shall we pick out the duds there? Because we will admit there are duds.
Let's do that. Without wanting to be too controversial or anything, I definitely think there are a few of them that just weren't up to scratch.
And I want to say mine, because I'm the Marvel noob. So my duds are The Incredible Hulk, Iron Man 3,
okay,
For the Dark World, Age of Ultron, And yeah, no, and Doctor Strange, kind of, it was an enjoyable film that I've not given a moment's thought since I left the cinema.
I actually pretty much completely agree with that. However, I would just like to add the first Thor because I'm not a big fan of it.
Okay, no, that's fine. I thought it was a funny enough film.
I thought it was definitely funny. I just didn't get the substance.
Yeah, I appreciate. To be honest, it's their most character introducey film.
Definitely, it felt like, oh, by the way, Thor.
Yeah.
Like, and I felt like, could you have introduced him maybe in a better way?
Yeah.
But, like, there wasn't a problem with the film itself. It's just a personal thing.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, definitely. And so we don't want to spend too much time on, but kind of my reasons for Incredible Hulk was just a bad film.
Yep.
Edward Norton was just a bad Hulk.
Yep.
Didn't like the Barry Ross stuff. Didn't like that it was just kind of. And I think the problem is when you make a Hulk movie, your temptation is just to make it 2.5 hours of carnage.
Exactly.
Iron Man 3, I thought was way too preachy. The bad guy was terrible.
Yeah.
Not that Guy Pearce is a good actor, but he was bad as Killian.
Villain, yeah.
Not a big fan of Gwyneth Paltrow, I'm going to be honest, and there was a lot of Gwyneth Paltrow in Iron Man 3.
I felt like they were almost trying to share the spotlight a bit.
For the Dark World was just very bland.
Yes, it was. It was.
Christopher Eccleston was a very forgettable bad guy.
Which is a shame because Christopher Eccleston is a great actor.
And there was too much lore. It was too much Norse mythology lore.
Yes.
You had to. It's like, well, there's these guys, and they're from this branch of the tree.
I mean, I enjoyed it because I'm a mythology nerd, and I'm like, ooh, I get to see like villains and stuff that I wouldn't normally get to see. But as like a casual cinema goer, I can understand why that's a dud, and I would definitely count it in the duds.
Ultron was just bland.
It was bad.
James Spader was fantastic as Ultron.
Yes.
But at the end of the day, it had the exact same finale as Avengers, which was they stood in a circle and they fought off CGI villains.
Yep.
Plus, you brought in these two Eastern European characters just so you could kill one of them, so you didn't have to kill a major cast member.
Yeah, that got to me.
And then Doctor Strange, it was funny. It was well made. The fight scenes were quite.
The CGI was amazing.
It's just there was nothing memorable about that film.
Yeah, I kind of walked out the cinema and went, "Oh, that was a good film."
I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I went on a first and only date with someone, and we went to see Doctor Strange. But no, I just felt there was no substance to the film. I enjoyed watching it, and I don't regret paying money to see it in the cinema. But this is honestly like the first time I thought or spoken about Doctor Strange since I saw it at the end of 2016.
Yeah, I mean, the only reason why I've seen it recently is because my parents hadn't.
Yeah, exactly.
And I don't think, and it had been sitting in the film box since it came out on Blu-ray.
I think the awkward thing is we've just accidentally, how we said, there's not 200 duds, and we listed half the MCU. So let's go with a top 4.
Oh, okay.
Or shall we start? Let's leave a top 4. What is your top 1 from each of the phases?
Okay.
So what is your standout from each phase?
That's annoying because three of my favourites are in phase 1.
We'll talk about that in a moment. But if you had to pick a standout from each phase, like a defining film from each phase.
Well, obviously phase 1 I think kind of has to go to the Avengers.
Okay, that's fair. I'll say my 3 after you do yours, but
phase 2 I would give it to. This is annoying. Probably Guardians of the Galaxy.
Okay, and phase 3. Which is annoying again, because...
Oh, no. I'm going to go with Black Panther.
Okay, that's fine. I'm going to go Avengers, Guardians... No, I'm going to go Avengers, Guardians, Panther. But, okay, so what... From across the board, what is your top 5?
I Iron Man.
Is this from fifth to first or first to fifth? Or is
No
it just
particular order? 'Cause
no
I
particular
can't
order?
order them.
Okay, so just your top 5 of the films.
Iron Man, First Avenger, Avengers,
Mm-hmm.
Guardians. I can't do this.
You need one more. I'm going to allow you to tie them for the top 5. So, but I'll give you 2, so you can put 2, so you can have 6, but with 2 of them tying for the last spot in the top 5.
I have 3.
You can have 2 of them.
Civil War and Black Panther.
Okay. I completely disagree with your list.
Fair.
But I think that's because we have very different tastes in what we want. I'm going to go Avengers for my top 5. Avengers, Guardians, Ant-Man, Ragnarok, Black Panther.
See, I don't disagree.
Yeah, I just completely don't have the same top 5 as you.
Yeah.
Okay, so why so that we don't go through 10 of the films, a few of which we both did say, because we did say a few of the same. Why give an example of a few of yours that why are they standouts to you?
I mean, for me, it's mostly character based. I'm not
Okay,
gonna lie.
that's fine. That's fine. That's absolutely fine.
So I have sort of 3 favorite characters
Okay.
within the MCU, and that's Tony Stark, Cap, and Bucky.
Mm-hmm.
So I chose kind of the films with their most heavy presence, I guess.
That's fine. I am not. I'm gonna be very honest. I'm not the biggest fan of the MCU.
Fair.
Because I think it's and we'll get to this in a bit, but one of my biggest criticisms is very samey.
I completely agree.
It is very, very formulaic.
Yes.
And that's the reason that I picked Guardians and Ant-Man and Ragnarok and Black Panther.
Because they broke the formula.
Because they were all very, very different. Guardians was just a fun romp, and I even want to put Guardians 2 in there because it somehow made sure it wasn't the formula of Guardians of the Galaxy.
Mm-hmm.
Because it changed the bad guys up from being Ronan and the Thanos stuff to Ego the Living Planet and the Ravagers.
Yeah.
Those were the bad guys in this one.
Yeah.
And I thought it was very new. I loved what's her name? Mantis. his half sister. She's adorable. And yeah, so Ant-Man I loved because it was a heist movie.
Mm-hmm.
But it was like a triple heist movie. Ragnarok was because what's his name?
Taika Waititi.
Taika Waititi. He did What We Do in the Shadows, didn't he? Yes. But he didn't do. Did he also do Flight of the Conchords? I don't think he did because that's a very, but like that, that similar vein of mockumentary style thing.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm sorry. If Thor Ragnarok had been a mockumentary, that would have been fucking hilarious.
They should have done that.
But no, it was very different. It was very funny. I know that James hates it. He doesn't hate it, but he didn't enjoy it because he was like, oh, it was too improv comedy-ish. It was like a lot of improv comedy sketches. Kind of, like when Hela breaks Thor's hammer, and it's like he was like, oh, that's kind of like an improv sketch of what happens if Thor lost his hammer.
I can understand that.
Basically, James didn't like that it wasn't conventional humor.
I enjoy Taika Waititi just in general. So,
but yeah, so I like the films that are not like the other films.
Yeah, I get that.
And Black Panther, because it was the first one that actually that was actually a kind of social commentary.
Yeah, yeah.
Because as I've said, and I hate that I keep saying this, the whole message was, and it's very, I have to be quite careful of this because I don't want to preach about a black film as a white person.
Yeah.
But I personally feel like the message of the film was, what does it mean to be black? That was the core theme of the film, which they told through the narrative of what does it mean to be a Wakandan.
Yeah.
Especially because it's T'Challa taking the helm of Wakanda versus this guy who is Wakandan but has grown up in the States.
Mm-hmm.
And as my dad said to me, like, when we were driving home from it, there is very much that thing of, you know, it is something that an American... If you are a black American, if you are an African American, and you travel to Africa, you are going to get treated differently to an African returning home to Africa.
Yeah.
That sounds very weird, but I hope people know what I mean.
I get it.
Yeah, essentially the film was about what does it mean to be a black individual in today's society, but the film addressed that through what does it mean to be Wakandan in the context of Wakanda.
Yeah.
But it was very different because it did this social commentary thing, and the villain was very different, and the villain was very relatable.
I loved the villain in this.
But yeah, it is a good selection of films. I know that you said, you know, with your housemate Jodie.
Yes.
I know that you guys tried to work your way through it.
We got to, I believe, Iron Man 3.
But I don't think I could do it. I don't think I could work my way through all the films again. I think I'd be happy to pick and choose my way through them.
Yeah.
Because to be honest, I don't think I could actually sit through the Avengers again. Because I think I've seen it about 2 or 3 times.
I've seen it about 6, and I still could.
I don't think I could sit through it again because I haven't seen it. Because it came out in 2012. We're now in 2018.
It's quite old.
It is 6 years old, and I think so much has changed in the MCU that I wouldn't find it satisfying.
Yeah, fair.
Okay, so I think we can just kind of move on.
Mm-hmm.
So, what does the MCU need to do to? What does it need to change? What does it need to keep doing? What does it need to do different to continue being good? Because as you can kind of see in this paragraph here, the next kind of future lineups, I don't want to say too much because I don't want someone to be like, well, you said this film's coming out, but actually I think you'll find that it's this film that's coming out. So from the Wikipedia page of the Marvel films, the films that are coming out in the next few years, Infinity War this April.
Yes.
Ant-Man and the Wasp this sometime this year.
Yes.
Captain Marvel next year.
Yep.
A Homecoming sequel, a Spider-Man sequel,
mm-hmm.
Guardians of the Galaxy 3, and then there are other projects in the works a little bit. We don't know too much.
We're not gonna say too
No,
much.
but like we know that there's been a ton of we're not getting Inhumans because that was turned into a god-awful TV show.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I don't know there's probably going to be a Black Panther. There's probably going to be a second Black Panther because it's like one of the best grossing films of all time.
Yeah.
Personally, I don't know how they're going to do a sequel to Black Panther because I felt it didn't need a sequel.
Yeah, I feel like it was tied up to quite a nice, neat
because
resolution,
essentially the only thing that you could really do is someone tries to invade Wakanda.
Yes.
So those are the films we know about. Those are the films we just said are the films that have been listed, and we don't want to speculate what's coming out. But okay, so I do have a bit of a curveball pitch for how the MCU could improve.
Go on.
So you know how Disney owns Marvel?
Yeah.
And so you know how Disney owns a lot of things?
Yes.
Well, one of the things that Disney owns is the Jim Henson Company.
Right.
And the Jim Henson Company is the studio responsible for the Muppets.
Yeah, I know where you're going with this.
So, I think one of the most important things that the MCU needs to do is incorporate the Muppets into the MCU.
Oh yeah, no, I could see that. I could.
Especially, but in time for Infinity War.
Do you mean just put them in?
Yeah, so you know the Muppets movie from 2011 with Jason Segel
Yeah.
and Kermit?
Yeah.
So classify that as the origin story
Right.
for the Muppets.
Okay.
Because it kind of was an origin story for the Muppets. And then the finale of Infinity War Part 2 needs to be...
Just Kermit sitting there going, "Shorty, I don't."
No, it's Kermit leaping off someone's back and punching Thanos so hard in the face that he dies.
So Kermit kills Thanos.
Yeah.
And you think that's how it could be?
I think that's how Infinity War Part 2 is going to end. You know, loads of people are going to die at the end of Infinity War Part 1. You know, we're going to see some, like, tragic stuff. And then you'll hear, "Hey-ho, looks like you guys need some help." And then they turn around and the opening shot with the Inception blah, is an explosion, and Kermit and Miss Piggy and the Muppets walk out of this explosion. And the whole film just becomes Captain America deferring to a small hand puppet frog. So yeah, my suggestion for how the MCU needs to get better is to incorporate the Muppets. But in serious news, I have a few points.
Yes.
Firstly, they need to stop doing sequels to mini franchises we've already seen. So I don't want another Iron Man film.
We don't need another Iron Man.
Don't want another Captain America film.
Probably don't need a Captain.
Don't want another Thor film.
Could do without one, yeah.
I could take another Spider-Man film because we've had one.
Yeah.
Don't really want another Guardians of the Galaxy film.
No, I think their story, once we get to Infinity War, I think their story is now just part of the Avengers.
Yeah. Basically, I don't want to see a bunch of sequels for the films we've already seen.
Yeah,
for the character.
I feel that.
I think if you're going to do new and exciting films that slowly introduce more characters, because I don't know where Avengers is going to go after Infinity War, because I'm going to guess they're going to take out the big bad since the very beginning.
Probably.
I think they're going to take out Thanos. That's probably how Infinity War in the comics goes down.
Yeah.
So I don't know who the big bad is going to become. My personal theory is, spoilers ahead for comics and stuff, I think it's going to be Scarlet Witch, and they're going to do Avengers Disassembled, at least for a time, and then they're going to focus on a bunch of standalone films.
Yeah. That's the logical progression, isn't it?
However, I don't want to just keep seeing the same characters over and over again, because what that does is you just need to then, it just ends up you building new storylines. So, like Captain America, we saw in First Avenger, he becomes Captain America, discovers that his best friend's still alive, and he kind of uncovers the whole Hydra stuff.
In the Winter Soldier.
Yeah, and then Civil War is the Civil War story.
The resolution of that, basically.
Yeah. So I don't want to see... I think the way that Marvel is going to go downhill is if it just keeps churning out sequels to what it knows works.
Yeah, I agree. Unnecessary sequels to films that we don't need more from.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's where it could fall.
Because I have a feeling we're probably going to get we might not get a Doctor Strange 2.
I don't want a Doctor Strange 2.
Even though apparently it got 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Which is impressive.
The lowest rated film here is...
66 Thor the Dark World.
Yeah. Which is fair. But... And, yeah, no, I think... Unnecessary sequels, and even to the stuff that's exciting, so I don't want to see a Black Panther sequel. Because I don't want it to fall into that cycle of...
Yeah.
We make a new and exciting addition to the MCU, and then we just turn it into sequels.
Yeah, I feel like that would be kind of a money-making move, and whilst I can appreciate business, I think the MCU as a whole will kind of lose a little bit of its soul.
Now to piss off the fuckboys, because what's missing from this list?
Women?
Exactly, there has not been a single female-led Marvel film.
Give us the girls. Where be they?
So, firstly, I want to see a Squirrel Girl film.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. Yep.
Starring that cosplayer I showed you, who did the Wednesday Addams thing. She tends to squirrels in her spare time, and I actually think she works at Marvel. I think professionally she works at Marvel.
Amazing.
I don't actually know what her job is, but she has a lot of like premiere tickets to Black Panther and stuff. But she does her best cosplay is Squirrel Girl.
Give us
Squirrel Girl. Give us Dazzler.
I'm gonna put it forward and say I do actually want a Black Widow movie.
I think I would have wanted a Black Widow movie 5 years ago.
I would have wanted it 5 years ago, but I still kind of want it now.
Yeah. I think my problem is, though, have you seen the trailers for that Red Sparrows movie?
Yeah.
Which kind of sound...
J-Law.
Which looks like an own brand Black Widow film.
Like a Walmart brand Black
It's
Widow.
It's Walmart presents Black Widow.
That's so true. It actually does look like that.
Obsidian Widower. But yeah, we're getting Captain Marvel next year,
which I think could be good.
Which is Brie Larson is headlining. I don't really know anyone else who's in it apart from Samuel L. Jackson. There is hints that we've heard about Carol Danvers.
Okay.
But it's one of those Easter eggs. Apparently, in Doctor Strange, before he crashes, he's taking a phone call about a woman who's got schizophrenia and has like a chat chip in her head. And then you hear like the chip's doing weird things to her and then he crashes.
Yeah.
People are like, is that Carol Danvers? Are they doing a reimagining of the Captain Marvel storyline?
Okay, cool. Yeah, that sounds interesting.
Which it might be, might not be, could be something completely different. But yeah, we need... Especially... Because it was that Kevin Feige, the president of Marvel...
Yeah.
Said in an interview that he would have done a female-led film earlier if he knew that Wonder Woman was going to be so successful.
I mean, to be honest, he should have done one earlier anyway.
Yeah, he should have done one earlier because he has good female characters.
Black Widow has a very compelling storyline. Yeah. And she was the one who rescued Hawkeye. Yeah. So I actually think they could have completely turned the tables and had this amazing lady rescuing this guy who needed help. Yeah. And I think that would have been a very, very interesting film. And they could have tied it in, if they wanted to the Captain America storyline, because Bucky is involved as the Winter Soldier with Black Widow's training. So I think it would have been a great
It's
movie.
Also hilarious that she is the least Russian-sounding person imaginable.
This is true, yeah.
But that's neither here nor there. And especially with how DC looks like it's about to start handling women.
Yeah.
Because I know that we've got like 4 different Harley Quinn films coming out.
Yes.
Because we've got a Joker and Harley film, which I'm going to despise because it's going to butcher their relationship.
Probably.
There's a Harley and Ivy film that's allegedly in production. There's a Gotham City Sirens film that's coming out, which is Harley, Ivy, Catwoman.
Okay.
On a side note, don't like Margot Robbie as Harley. I think it's a terrible casting choice. Not a big fan of Margot Robbie
Fair enough.
General.
I honestly don't know that much about her.
But no, I think DC is about to do a string of bad female-led films.
Probably.
Patty Jenkins is going to probably do a good Wonder Woman sequel, which we know has been greenlit.
Yeah. I think that the MCU is honestly missing a trick.
Yeah.
With its female characters, which is a shame, because it has some great ones.
Yeah. And a chance to bring new ones in, legitimately bring Squirrel Girl in, because she's fucking hilarious.
Yeah.
Because she actually has the power to talk to squirrels.
Which is
so there's that amazing comic book thing where she's talking to various other women who are named after animals.
Right.
So it's like she talks to Catwoman. No, she talks to Black Cat, which is from Spider-Man, and Black Cat's like, I can't talk to cats. She talks to Cheetah, and Cheetah's like, I don't talk to cheetahs. She talks to X-23, Wolverine's daughter.
Yeah.
She's just like, oh no, that's right. Squirrel Girl is holding a pet carrier.
Right.
With a Wolverine in it.
Okay.
And X-23 is like, what is that? It's a Wolverine. I can't talk to Wolverines.
That genuinely
Squirrel
sounds
Girl
like
would-
quite a funny...
Squirrel Girl would be a fantastic, almost indie superhero film.
Almost like Ant-Man, in a way.
If you made a cross between Deadpool and Ant-Man for a family-friendly audience, you'd get Squirrel Girl.
Yeah. No, I genuinely think Marvel it doesn't treat its women very well.
Yeah.
And again, with the whole on the subject of representation, I can't say that before Black Panther it didn't treat people of colour very well, because I still don't think it treats people of colour very well, because we've had one film?
We've had one film
exactly
to diversity.
And I don't think that's good enough. And there's no
let's think
LGBT representation.
Well, yeah, let's think about it. In all of these films, there's
two.
Well, no, because Doctor Strange has Tilda Swinton removed. Benedict Wong is
Yes.
I believe he is Chinese. I am.
Yes.
Feel free to correct me on that.
Yeah.
But he is a person of color.
Yes.
Idris Elba in the 4 movies is Heimdall. Rhodey in both the Cuba Gooding Jr. and the Don Cheadle forms.
Yep.
Falcon. That Hispanic guy who helps Ant-Man. His Hispanic...
Bless! I forgot about... Oh, I love him.
His Hispanic friend.
But can you name him?
No, because I'd go for a stereotypically Hispanic name.
Then, does it count?
No, he does have, like, a name, but I can't...
Yeah, but does it... Top. But if you can't, like, remember him, I don't think that is very good representation.
Zoe
Saldana, but she's... Yeah, okay, yeah,
but no, but it is a black...
She
it is a black actress, at the very least.
Yeah.
That's...
Is that it?
Well, Spider-Man Homecoming Ned is an Asian American.
I mean, if you can name him.
His best friend Ned is Asian American. Then Zendaya, who plays MJ, is... And we can't be bothered to look things up.
So that's like, what, 7?
Yeah, there's essentially every few films, there's a notable person of colour.
Which is not okay,
by
the way, MCU.
But bring more diversity in, because there's... I can't remember what her name is.
And also, give me some gays.
I can't remember what her name is, but there's someone who's kind of like Storm, but she's like very much about the Earth Elementals and stuff.
That's hella cool.
And she's Cree
Native American.
She's Cree Native American. She's Cree.
There's also no gays.
That's true, but that's partly due to Pearl. What's his name? Ike Perlhauser? Pearl Eichner? The guy who was president of Marvel before Kevin Feige, who was like a super staunch Republican.
Okay.
No, I think it's kind of that. We don't need a place for gay superheroes because we don't need. It's don't ask, don't tell for the modern era.
But it's not okay.
I'm not saying it's not okay, but I know why Marvel's doing it.
I get it, but like it is 2018.
Yeah.
Give me some gays.
Yeah, if you can give us an animatronic raccoon voiced by Bradley Cooper, you can give us a gay character.
You know what would be cool?
What?
Lesbian Squirrel Girl.
That would be pretty cool. Okay, but no, my other point about the MCU that needs to change, they need to remove the old guard.
I agree.
Especially because at this point, so in American football, there's something called franchise tagging.
Right.
Which is, it's like, of your players who have played a certain number of years in the NFL, you pick one of them, and you give like an immediate 1-year contract to that person. Basically, it means that they can't then go to free agency, so they can't just leave your team and be picked off by someone else.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at this point, Marvel is franchise tagging its actors.
Yeah.
It's been like, okay, one more contract. And, given that scandal that came out a few years ago, where it was how, the obscene amount of money Marvel is paying these people.
Yeah, just let them rest.
Yeah, and especially because a lot of them have said they kind of want to be done with the MCU. Like, Chris Evans wants...
Totally fair.
Chris Evans wants to do different things. Chris Hemsworth wants to do different things. Robert Downey Jr. will probably run out of kitchens to pay for. But I think do it in a legacy fashion, so maybe have Falcon become Captain America like he does.
Or Bucky.
Well, both Falcon and Bucky have been Captain America in the comics at one point or another.
Exactly, so give the shield to Bucky.
Or just give Bucky kind of a different role in the MCU.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, make him like a weird Winter Soldier who's actually working for the US government.
Okay.
Like a turnaround thing.
Yeah.
But yeah, so give the Tony Stark storylines over to Shuri.
Yes.
Because in the comics there's a person called Riri Williams,
mm-hmm.
who is a black. I think the problem is there is a person called Riri Williams in the comics who is a black young female Tony Stark.
Right.
Basically, she is currently Iron Man. I think in some storylines she is Iron Man.
That's cool.
Because she's she was his protege, and she gave a bunch of improvements. And you know how he has the bleeding edge armor now, the one that kind of comes out of his skin.
Yeah.
I think she has her own version of the Iron Man suit now. I think the problem is you can't really introduce her because you're just reintroducing Shuri.
So instead of introducing her,
don't
Shuri.
Riri Williams. And I know a lot of black readers are actually there's that adorable cosplay of the 17-year-old girl who's a tech genius, and she's a real life Riri Williams.
That's cool.
But don't bring in two characters who are essentially the same thing.
Yeah.
And feel free to scream at me in the comments and call me a racist for that. But to be honest, from a filmmaking perspective and from an audience perspective, if you have Shuri and then you bring in another young black tech genius, audiences are going to go, but
why?
But there's just two of them now.
Yeah.
So I say give Shuri from Black Panther the Tony Stark roles, so make her the tech genius. Bucky or Falcon become Captain America. There is talk about that we might get a spin-off for. So I've heard that Bullet Ray Bill might be coming into the series, which is this crazy alien Thor. I have heard that Frog Thor might be coming in. But it is in the comics, it is much more of a Thor is whoever Mjolnir proclaims worthy.
Yeah.
So Jane Foster in the comics has been for a while. I think the best person to give it to is give it to Valkyrie.
Yes.
Oh shit, we completely forgot
Valkyrie.
Female black main character.
Tessa Thompson. She was great, actually. Can't believe we forgot her.
So make Valkyrie into the new Thor. Just give younger actors a chance to. It is a big problem that the two groups that are overlooked by mainstream Hollywood is older women and younger actors of both genders.
Oh yeah, 100%, definitely.
Because it's still that thing of why are all our 16-year-olds played by 25-year-olds?
Yeah. I think it's actually an epidemic.
Yeah, and I get part of it is it's really strenuous for a 16-year-old to do all this stuff. So we get someone who's not still in high school. It's but if it works for the Walking Dead, then
why can't it work for the MCU or something like that?
Carl, who they've just killed off, and he's I think he's 18. He'd made enough money to buy a flipping house. Because it was kind of the scandal thing is he didn't know he was being killed off. And so he'd bought a house in Georgia near to where they film Walking Dead. But no, it's in all of their contracts that it's we can kill you off at any fucking point. Anyway. Yeah, bring in younger people.
Like, I think out of a lot of films I've seen, teen films,
Yeah.
Tom Holland is actually
Tom Holland
really
is a very good
close
actor.
looking to almost
He
about
needs
right
to
age.
he needs to let that frog out of his mouth go free.
I think that frog deserves an Oscar, though.
But no, he's very good, and it was a fun film. Spider-Man: Homecoming was a fun film.
I actually didn't enjoy it that much. Unpopular opinion of that.
It was.
I could appreciate the fact that it was a good film. Like, I don't think it was bad.
It had its
just
flaws, but
personally did not enjoy it that much. Maybe I hyped it up too much.
yeah, no, I think it was way overhyped.
I think I didn't see it when it came out in the cinemas because I was actually ironically in America. And I didn't have time to go to the movies while I was over there. And I came back and I was so busy, so I didn't watch it until November?
Mm.
And I was just sitting there since, like, August, waiting to see this film. And I finally watched it, and I was like, oh, was that it?
Yeah, and then also just, like, do away with stuff. So, Doctor Strange, it was a nice experiment, but... And the CGI was good. I just don't think people give enough of a shit.
I genuinely don't care about
And also, I think the thing is, I think the problem with Doctor Strange kind of being the only one that really does this, Doctor Strange was, and kind of Ant-Man a little bit, they were made simply to have the character introduced in time for Infinity War.
Yeah. Although I have to say, Ant-Man is a fantastic
Ant-Man's a fantastic film, and that's why I was hesitant to include it.
But it was a character introduction that I felt they thought needed to happen.
Yeah.
I get that.
But, and actually no, Ant-Man was an introduction so they could use him in Civil War. Doctor Strange was an introduction so they can use him in Infinity War.
Yes.
But yeah, just give us younger casts.
More ladies, more gays.
More, what was the more one? More ladies.
More ladies.
Yeah, more ladies, more diversity, more gays, fresher ideas, like,
Bring in younger directors, maybe. That would be cool. No, I'd like to see
yeah, a
some
little bit,
stuff.
but there are still...
I'm not saying, like, do away with all the old ones.
Don't be afraid to bring in...
I felt like Taika Waititi was an experiment.
Okay, so Ava DuVernay, I think, is making A Wrinkle in Time.
Yeah.
And she passed on Black Panther. I can't remember. I read yesterday that she has been given a Marvel film. I can't remember what she's been given, but I think she's been slated for a Marvel film.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure that's who Ava DuVernay is.
I'm not sure.
But I think she's the Wrinkle in Time director, and I think she passed on Black Panther. Oh, you've been asked to
no.
Quiet down. Cool. Okay. But yeah, I think younger overall. Don't be afraid to delve into the obscure stuff. So give us Squirrel Girl. I will...
Hashtag make Squirrel Girl gay 2020.
Yeah, make Squirrel Girl 2020. So yeah, gay Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, that's going to be a thing.
Gay Squirrel Girl 2021.
Yeah. Hashtag make it happen, Marvel.
Okay, let's finish this episode by doing let's quickly build gay Squirrel Girl 2021. So who's gonna play Squirrel Girl? I'm gonna say Riddle, the cosplayer.
I mean, from what I've seen, yeah, that would actually
or at least costume design by Riddle.
That would be cool. I would say I would kind of want like a
young gay Squirrel Girl.
Yeah, like a young actress.
I'm not sure how old Brie Larson is, but I'd totally be down for Brie Larson, who's currently slated to play Captain Marvel. I'd totally be down for Brie Larson to play Squirrel Girl.
I'm just looking her up.
I mean, it's fine. Jack will edit this stuff out, but...
She's 28.
I mean, that's fair. Or do you want college graduate?
I want college grad who suddenly discovers she can speak to
Or
squirrels.
she always knows that she can speak to squirrels.
Hmm.
I don't actually know what Squirrel Girl's origin story is.
Can we have a Squirrel Girl origin story?
Okay, let's have a quick Google of Squirrel Girl origin story. I love this is just now the Squirrel Girl podcast with Ben and Alex. Okay, so we are gonna record a Squirrel Girl podcast. Fuck you, Jack, because I can hear you almost rolling your eyes at that. Because it's more editing for you. However, our quick Squirrel Girl thing.
Teaser.
We're gonna cast
Natalia Dyer.
who you'll know as Nancy Wheeler in Stranger Things.
Hell yeah.
Directing duo of Patty Jenkins and Natalie Portman.
Yep.
Someone is gonna write.
The girlfriend.
Haven't cast the lesbian girlfriend for.
But we will.
We will. So I hope you're writing all of this down, Marvel. You better be.
Hashtag take your notes.
Yep. So, screenplay by Luke Westaway. No, screenplay by Alan Rose.
And Jane Douglas.
So look out for that podcast at some point.
Yep.
But yeah, so closing remarks on Marvel?
It's good.
It's good. It does.
It's a little bit formulaic.
It's formulaic, but it's good formulaic.
Yeah.
And it has issues it needs to address, but it's not anything that Hollywood doesn't need to already address.
Exactly, yeah.
So good job, Marvel. Happy 10th birthday. We hope to see you get many more. I'm gonna come to your houses and urinate on your flowers. If
Benji, no.
Infinity War is bad.
Give me some gays.
And yeah, so thanks for listening. Check out all our other Silver Crow content. We stream on Twitch on Saturdays. We're currently playing the horror role-playing system called Cthulhu.
Mm-hmm.
You can find us at Silver Crow Media on Twitch. You can follow us on social media such as YouTube, Twitter, and Tumblr. On YouTube and Tumblr, we are Silver Crow Media. On Twitter, we are Silver Crow Inc. We have podcasts up. We have I Digress, which is our podcast about anything and everything. We have Wasted Potential, which is our drunken advice podcast. We have On a Roll, which is our role-playing podcast. And I'm pretty sure we'll probably start adding to that in the near future, such as the Squirrel Girl Show with Ben and Alex.
Look out for our history podcast,
At
which will be done at some point.
Some point, and given a name within that. So yeah, thanks a lot for listening. If you've got any comments, questions, leave them in the leave them in the comments or ask them on Tumblr, and we'll try and get back to you about it. So it's goodbye from me, Benjamin Mark.
And it's goodbye from me. Goodbye.
Da-ba-da-da-da.